In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go over a few additional features of the Cypher Workbench Modeling tool, which is this one. And to start, we're going to load up the model that we are working with in some other videos, which is an import of the sample movies database. This is the actual model here. We added this in one of the other videos. There's no data for this. I want to revisit the validation capability. So if I go here and I click Validate Model, you'll notice that if everything is turned on from a static perspective, then we get these validation errors. I'm going to go ahead and correct these real quick. This is because in the sample movie data model, we don't have things like node keys or things like that. So let me go ahead and close this validation window. This is not letting me click. I'm going to hold the command key and click, and now I can click it. Something I'm going to do, I'm just going to set this to be the node key here, like that. Let me go here. I'm going to change title to be the node key here, and I'm going to change genre to be the node key here, like this. So if I do that and I revalidate, now everything is good. Now, one thing to note is we're only doing static validation at the moment, which are things like the style guide, whether things have properties and that sort of thing. What we can also do is we can actually connect to the database, and much like we saw in the Cypher Suite video, what we can do is we can actually check the model against the database. So let's do that now. And when I do that, what happens is it still runs my static validation checks. But in addition to that, what happens is I'm getting counts for the node types. So in this case, I've got 133 person nodes, 38 movie nodes, and I've got 0 genre nodes. So even though from a static perspective, genre is good, if I wanted to actually see if I had data in my database for genre, I can see that I do not. Also, I see that this here is, there's no relationship here. Let me see what the other, yeah, it also does check the constraints. So even though I did add the constraints here in the model, it's complaining that this node key genre or node key person name, they're not in the database. So these are some additional things that you can use to check your model to see if it's conforming to the data you actually have in the database. So that's one thing I wanted to show. I'm going to clear the validation now. Another thing that has been very useful for some people are there's different ways of importing the data model. What we've shown before was if you have a database connection, you can actually use this import model from database. That's one way of doing it. Sometimes people don't have a connection from Cypher Workbench to their database. In that case, what they can do is two different ways. One is you can run apoc.meta schema like this. This is going to return this value. This is a JSON structure like here. If I go ahead and select this entire thing, I'm going to take that. I'm going to copy it. You can also download the JSON this way and pick it out. The only issue with that is you've got to make sure that you don't include this key. You just need the value. You need the actual like contents of the value when you get it from the JSON file. So what I've done here is I've just selected this, starting with this curly brace. Going back over here, I go to my import, and this time I'm going to import model, and it brings me this page. And you can also import like a Cypher Workbench model that maybe someone else had on their machine, maybe get it in an email or something like that. But another format is this apoc meta schema, and if I do that, it's going to come back just like we had done from the other database import. So that's one way of doing it. There's yet even another way to do it. Sometimes you might want to think like if you are in a different role or something like that, perhaps you don't have access to any database at all, but you're looking at code. What you can do is let's just do a new model, and we'll call this model from Cypher. So in that case, what we can do is we can use this parse Cypher command, and what you do is you need to paste a Cypher statement here. So in this case, if I were to look at this movies, this is the Cypher statement that you actually creates the movies data set. I can actually copy this and I can paste it here like that and click parse Cypher, and voila, we get essentially the same thing back out. Now note that these imports, these actually create a new model for you and then pull the data into the model. In the parse Cypher case, it's actually an additive operation. So what you have to do is you start with a new model, like a blank model, and then you click parse Cypher and you actually parse your Cypher. So that way, if there's several statements that are disjointed, like in this case, I've also got another Cypher statement, which is the movie's genre one. So if I want to do this like this, I can do this and it's going to go ahead and add. I don't know why it was all the way up there. Let me zoom out. I'm going to pull this down here somewhere and we'll zoom back in. So this is another way, we can clean it up like that. So this is another way of looking at or trying to build a model, and you can see then you can use the same sort of functionality before to compare Cypher statements like we showed in scenarios or in the Cypher suite and all that kind of stuff. Just a few other things. Now that we've got some constraints, you can use like the export constraints. Actually, this is no constraints. What happened? Oh, this because I'm in this one. If I go back and load the one that I was working on here, and I say export constraints, I think we added some. There we go. So this is something you can grab and you can copy and paste this into Neo4j browser to create those constraints for you. And a couple other things, you can also get things like the data dictionary here. So you can download like an HTML file or something like that. And you can click around here and see all the different things you've done. And last but not least, if you were going to use the data dictionary capability, there's a way here where if you say show descriptions, it adds like a textual line here, which if you put some text here, you can describe properties and that kind of stuff, and that'll actually show up in the data dictionary. And those are just a couple other features that are available in the model tool. Thank you for watching, and that's the end of this video. Thanks.